That's what I said.
Right.
No, that's what it That's 20. That's 2021.
He asked me here.
Right.
Oh,
Could go into the, park, put a little sign beside his car.
I already talked to Brad, the chairman, he said.
yes, sir. Mayor Paulson.
Well, there were a lot of,
Ron, that's the reason why.
they didn't have that many participating in the meeting. I mean, the trunk or treat itself, but they were between, on the street between the park and the church. The church sponsors.
Shut the road down.
Yeah, shut that road down.
Is this every liquor license that we have in Crowley?
That one houses.
You got that number one.
There were both sides to the street. You couldn't hardly get that. Yeah.
So other than this, this is every one of them?
You see, I don't know.
Let's chat. Is this-
Fundraising. We got time to start. That should be enough to buy the camera. We just need to hand out.
They have all the information. I don't think they need.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you could get in a certain amount of time.
Yeah, so.
And this year,
PlayStation, game, console.
it's good. It's gonna be all covered in this. Try to get them off.
Hey, is this every liquor license?
I'll get it for you.
Yes, Chris, we're gonna amend it.
No,
No, that is not all of them. That's just those that were turned in. You'll get some more next month. We still have next month's meeting to be able to,
we're going
do it without it then being late, so.
Yeah, you got it?
For the police? No, for the liquor licenses.
Oh, no, I didn't. No, Brad had asked, but you talking about with the wine tour.
Yeah, whatever y'all have to go, like, how many times you have to stop at my place, so I can stop it wherever.
Do you have that, Brad?
I've read through your office.
I just got this this afternoon.
But you have, that's fine.
I think Walmart had the most.
I just like to know how I can.
All right, y'all ready? We'll just that, right? We'll get started with a little prayer.
All we needed.
Alderman Ashley, if you would do us a favor, please.
Our gracious Lord, we thank you that we can come here tonight, Lord, and just use your wisdom, Lord, to guide the city in the direction that you would have it go, Lord. I just ask that you would bring respect and order into this place, Lord, and help us just to reflect you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Chief Abear, you want to lead us in the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. We'll start with public safety, if y'all don't mind. Chief Romero has another engagement to go to, and that's probably going to be our longest list on the agenda. So if you don't mind, we'll start with public safety, Alderman Coors.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to call to order the Public Safety Committee meeting. All members are present except Jeff Dorey. Under reports, we'll begin with Chief of Police Troy Abear.
Considering it was a rice festival month, it wasn't too bad. Our office did did answer 857 calls. On the traffic side, on the 10 citations, it was 276. Traffic citations was 87. Criminal citations was 30, giving us a total of 393 citations issued for the month of October. The TED program was a little lower than normal, and that was due to the officers working so much overtime for the fair. We didn't have time to work as much TED as we would like, but, so those numbers are a little low, but they still strong.
Have any questions for Chief? Thank you, Dan. Next we'll move on to Fire Chief Louis Fomero, his report.
Thank y'all for taking public safety first. So October was busy for Crowley Fire. We had 46 calls that were recorded. We ran multiple EMS, helping out Med Express and Acadian, but we did not make calls downtown during the festival because we just assisted. We didn't get to the patient first. They got to the patient first. But out of the 46 calls, we had 4 hazardous conditions, 22 EMS, 5 false alarms, 7 fires, 5 good intent, and 3 service calls. So far this year, we ran 441 calls with the response time 1 second better than last month. 238 for average response time. Give y'all an update. We had some issues at Central Fire Station. We had to remove a bunch of the drainage from the kitchen and the 2 bathrooms that was all cast on. And last Thursday, I think it was, Thursday, it had a waterfall in the engine bay. It had a hole the size of a quarter that was leaking between the floor and the ceiling. So they had to rip holes in the wall, holes in the ceiling downstairs and repair all that. That bill came out to $7,800. So just an update on that. Right now we have the engine out. We got to change the water pump on engine 20. Update y'all on the $600,000 ACT money. We had a little hiccup for the truck. The ACT money listed it as a equipment, and the state listed that as an acquisition. So the Friday of Rice Festival, the Joint Budget Legislative Committee met and reworded that to an acquisition, equipment, and renovations to the station. So we're back on track with that. We're just about a month behind. I talked to Crystal Smokey last week, and then again Monday. She's gonna move forward with the paperwork that I presented a month and a half ago, so we should be receiving our check within the next 3 or 4 weeks. I went to Texarkana last week, and I'm gonna ask that it's a 75% grant, we match 25%. I'm gonna ask for $50,000 because that's the max. So, I think I got the money in my budget to match the grant. I don't know what I want to spend the money on yet. I might need that money to help with the renovations to South Crowley and North Crowley. But I think we better get that. And an hour ago, I got, in fact, I need to get with Glenn. I got a phone call from a local business asking me for an updated W-9. So that's positive news. I asked for a donation of $3,500 to help fund a strong arm. It's right at $8,000. So if I can get them to give me $3,500, I think got the money in my budget for a strong arm. It's a, smaller entry to it to help us, help the police department break into homes and to, get into the hoods of cars and, stuff like that. So the guys are asking for, they went to a training and they played with it, and everybody that went said, Chief, we need one of those. So if I can get half the money, and the city can dish out the other half. So I think that's all I have. Anybody got any questions?
How's that package working out over there?
One more time?
The package at the fire department, that person,
Oh, the new recruit.
yeah.
So, I was like, Steph, help me out. So I did hire two new guys. I hired, Tyler Roberts Jr. He's gonna have to go to the academy in January. And, I also rehired Jared Abel. He was a firefighter with us last August. He resigned, went into the oil field, and wanted to come back, so I rehired him. I've got one more opening, and, I think I'm gonna offer the employment, I talked to the mayor today, I think I'm gonna offer the employment to, a Connor Daigle from Rain. If he passes the background check and does the mile and a half and the CPAT, I think, so we're gonna be sending two to the academy in January.
Chief,
But he's gonna work out.
Chief, I think, Steph is asking you, you found out who that young man's family was, right?
Yes, I did.
All right. Alderman Martin has a little interest in that,
Yes,
that
yes.
employee.
Very little.
But he's a fine young man. He's a fine young man. Any questions?
One thing, I don't think, you, helped the police chief break into homes. I think you helped him make entry.
Entry,
Yeah, there you go.
into the home. Well, and the strong arm is gonna do it with less damage. Less damage, yes. You know, whenever we have to force entry into a home, or even when we gotta force entry into a home to help a kid or Med Express. You know, sometimes we do a little damage.
Yes.
But, this is gonna be a little bit less damage. And it's $8,400 for the battery operated piece of equipment.
Yes, and real quick, if you don't mind, Brad, I wanna thank the fire chief. He mentioned about the $600,000 for the fire department. But we all know that he's very good at asking for money, so, he has experience with filling out the CDAs for the monies that, we are getting from the state. 200 for Rice Theater, 100 for the police, the 600 for the fire, 50,000 for city court. 3 of those 4, the fire chief has assisted me on filling those out, and the police chief, filling those out and getting those, turned in and approved. We are expecting probably by the end of this week or early next week, to receive the full $100,000 for the police department and 50% of the $200,000 for the Rice Theater. I'm still waiting for the judge to make a decision on and get with us to help fill out the applications on what she wants for city court. But the fire chief was very helpful with getting those done, and we basically getting that money in pretty quick here.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank y'all. And just to let y'all know, I'm going to help cook at the DU bank. So that's why I need to get out of here.
Really cool.
But that's a good ribeyes, baked potatoes, and salad.
How many tickets you got, Chief? You got one?
Yeah.
I just got to see.
We got a table, Troy.
Thank you.
All right, next we move to City Inspector Tony Duhan, who has emailed me his report, which I'm having to read. Animal control work orders: 6 for dead animals, 17 for cats, 51 for dogs, 1 animal bite, 10 animal traps, and 2 animal cruelty. There were 15 dogs taken in, 12 cats taken in, 4 cats and 16 dogs currently in the shelter, with 2 cats that were spayed and neutered. And are code enforcement, 1 disease tree, 2 weeds, 24 uninhabitable structures, flood management, review of state provisions of flood management for federal compliance, permits, quantity of 3 mechanical, 20 electrical, 11 gas, 1 sign, 2 residential remodels, and 1 residential and 1 commercial. Planning and zoning, 1 re-subdivided annexation, public hearings, stormwater management, monthly inspections of Bayou Blanc, Center Ditch, Rice Capital Parkway, and North Interstate 10. Contact us if further information is needed. Respectfully, Tony Dubon, City Inspector. Next we'll move to action items. We have 40 applications for beer and or liquor permits on the agenda, and I'd like to make a motion to introduce these in global for consideration by the full council. Do I have a second? Second by Alderman Ashton. Discussion. And Mr. Reggie recuses. I would like to point out that I have received the list of complaints for these establishments, for all establishments that have liquor licenses currently, and I have reviewed them and found that the number of complaints for each establishment to be typical of other similar establishments regarding the number of complaints. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We have no discussion items. Is any other business to come before the committee? And the committee recesses. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Core. Public Works, Alderman Dorey.
Thank you, Mayor. Public Works Director Albert John, did y'all do that yet or no? Okay. Public Works Director is Albert John.
Good afternoon, I'll be quick. Our boom mower is still down, that's the only piece of equipment that's out of service. Mosquito control. We are going to try to spray next week, and that's going to be pretty close to the end of it. We'll see what happens with the weather. It's going to warm up. If there's not a lot of activity, we will play it by work orders and hot spots after that.
Play it by light.
Well, it has to be a bunch of bites now. Can't do 1 or 2.
I'm glad it got cold, because I thought y'all were feeding them for.
Oh, hey, twice last month. We fed them twice last month. Any questions?
Albert, I think it's important to point out, because we've been getting some complaints and questions about grass on Oddfellows and different areas, Rice Capital Parkway, in these ditches, and the boom mower is the issue.
Right.
And the tractor's been out for
It's been 4 weeks.
at least a month, yes.
The 28th is when I pulled the PO on it.
Okay. So they're supposed to, John Deere's supposed to go and
Tomorrow, we'll
Hopefully.
reprogram the computer, and then we'll know more after that. But what happened, it went in, last meeting, I mentioned it was going in. It went in, that problem was fixed another road. So that's where it stands right now.
Well, you answered the question that I didn't get to ask, so. Thank you very much. So anybody else have any questions? If not, thank you, Albert.
Thank you.
And next we have City Engineer Tim Mader.
Thank you, Jeff. You'll notice a little hoarseness in my voice. It actually makes my voice a little more boomy. I usually complain about no one hearing me, so maybe it yeah, my report for Public Works begins on page 2 begins at the bottom, contract A. I'll start out by saying that I'm going to present to you today the same action that I presented to you last month. And it's because what we hoped would have happened last month is between committee October and meeting October, the contractor would have finished the punch list. When we presented these items for your action, you added contingent upon completion of the punch list at the time of the committee. We included it for the meeting in October. All I've done here basically is just include that now in what you have in terms of my report. So if you look at the top of page 3 is where I have in red font, yellow highlight. We again expect the contractor to have completed the punch list before your meeting next week. We are presenting a resolution of termination in the final contract change order that we would present to the full council on November 8th for termination of the contract. The contractor, I want to remind you that the contractor will not be paid either for remaining punch list work or for labor and material liens under the contract until 45 days after recordation of no determination. So if we're fortunate enough to have the contractor finish the punch list, pay items and non-pay items, then we would come to you on the 8th, next Wednesday, if you enact the notice of termination, the resolution of termination, and filing the notice of termination, then that would be filed the next day, November 9th, and that would begin the 45-day lien period. The contractor would not be paid any liens, labor, material liens, or punch list liens until 45 days after the night. So we're getting pretty much into the end of the season. So I want everybody to be aware that whatever action you take here is not paying the contractor immediately. There's a procedure to be followed. So I have partial payment estimate number 20, which is for contract A. These are the same numbers I gave you last month. The total value of the completed contract estimated at $6,750,800 and $337,540 to be withheld for labor material liens. And an amount to be determined later would be withheld for completion of the punch list. And that's what we're doing, is waiting to see if he finishes everything on the punch list, then that would be zero. But if he's not finished by next Wednesday, we would withhold a certain amount of money that would leverage him to go and fix the things that are not done when we act on it next Wednesday.
I got a quick question. Has there ever been the potential that the punch list cost us more to get someone else to come do than the money we saved in reserve to do the punch list?
It's never happened. The question is well placed because it's up to us to put a value on what's to be done so that if the contractor would walk away and say, I'm not doing it, that you would withheld the amount of money that you can engage somebody to do it. We have to estimate it. So we're going to estimate it likely more than what the contractor did on it 2 years ago. But it's up to us to put a value on it that keeps you whole.
Okay, thank you.
So, an amount to be determined later would be withheld after completion of the punch list. The total amount due then for estimate number 20 would be $169,599. And I note there, these figures will be adjusted after the punch list is completed, meaning that $169,599 is an estimate, but there is asphalt left to be laid, like on Pinewood and some other areas that the contractor is to be paid. Striping downtown wasn't done yet. We're going to withhold that, and those quantities may change, so the amounts that I'm telling you here are subject to change, and they will be adjusted. The contractor would have to have done the work by next Wednesday, so you'll know what that number is in final form. If the punch list is completed before November 8th, the final numbers will be provided to council for action at the November meeting. If not, council action will be postponed and presented for consideration either at an upcoming special meeting or at the December council meeting. So if you didn't finish it, you will delay it another month. You're withholding nearly $900,000 from them, so we've got it leveraged pretty good there. They want us to work, they're already fussing at us for not paying them, we're fussing at them for, we could tell them if they want us to do it. So the fussing stops there. So I would like you to consider then, where you see D in the left margin, is item 1, 2, 3, approve partial payment estimate number 20 to Glenn Leger for citywide street improvements contract A project in the amount of $169,599.
So moved.
We have a motion, we have a second.
I'll second.
By the way, that's contingent upon completion.
Yes. A motion and a second. All in favor? Any more discussion first?
Yes, I have one question, Tim. Item 33, to clean all the catch basins to make sure the asphalt's not covering the grates. We have several catch basins in the store.
I got you, that's.
Okay,
Yeah. And you said you would, really give me some locations?
yes,
You have those?
not yet.
Okay, just send them in, so I should have gotten it to you.
Thank you. That's all I have.
No more questions, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes.
Item 2, at D in the margin there, is approve the final contract change order number 5 under the contract for the project contract A to adjust original contract quantities and cost to final construction quantities and cost in the amount of a negative $31,026 and to adjust original contract time to final contract time contingent upon completion.
Offer.
We have a motion,
Second.
second. Any more discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Item 3 for contract A is adopt the resolution of termination for the contract with Legion Construction for contract.
So moved.
Second.
Motion, we have a second. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, similarly, under contract B, where you see E in the margin, I have down at the bottom of the page, where you see G, the total value of the completed contract is estimated to be $9,370,436, $468,521 to be withheld for labor and material liens, and an amount to be determined later to be withheld for completion of punch list. And the total amount due this estimate is $238,204. I ask that you consider in item 1 under council action requested, approve partial payment estimate number 15 to Glen Leisure Construction for contract B in the amount of $238,204.
So moved.
We have a motion, second. Do we have a second on that?
Second, and that's, again, contingent upon.
Yes, I didn't put it in my report, but it's in there on the agenda. I got it in there, so it's the way it's worded on the agenda.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes.
Item 2 for contract B is approved final contract change order, number 3, for the contract B to adjust original contract quantities and cost to final construction quantities and cost in the amount of a negative $586,279 and to adjust original contract time to final contract time contingent upon completion.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed?
Top of page, oh, I'm sorry.
Motion passes.
Top of page 4 is item 3, adopt the resolution of termination for contract B.
A motion,
I'll second.
have a second. Any discussion? Continue upon.
Yeah, as worded on the
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
That concludes the action item that I have for Public Works. Available now or in between next week and now or at the meeting for any questions you may have.
Thank you very much, Tim. If nothing else is before us today, I will recess.
Thank you, sir. Utility, Alderman Martin.
Thank you, sir. Utility committee, let's get together with it, y'all. We got a quorum president, Kim Gray, wastewater superintendent up first.
Good afternoon. My apologies for not being here last month to give my report. And I'll cover some of those numbers. September, we had 133 Louisiana One call locate requests with 25 work orders filed. During the month, we had 2 washouts that occurred, one in the 700 block of West Northern, and one down at Walnut and South Avenue H. Both were excavated and repaired. We got some cold mix over the one on West Northern and on Walnut until we have a settlement good enough to come back and backfill it correctly. During October, we had 232 locate requests, 16 work orders that were filed. We pulled a pump at Oddfellows Road, along with one at the 8th Street Pump Station. Both of them were cleared of their clogs and put back in service with no damage to the pumps. We currently have an aerator that's out of service. We're just waiting on our guy to come in. We're gonna have to change the shaft. That came in a couple of weeks ago, and once that's changed out, we'll put it back in service.
You gonna do that yourself, right, with you guys?
We have to, we call in, grind and drilling comes in because they have the specialized tools to unlock
Not a
the
problem.
shaft and the bearings.
Okay.
Other than that, that's, what we have going, everything's up and running, no issues. Any questions?
Any questions, Tim? Thank you, bud.
Thank you.
So the next up, city engineer, Tim Mader.
Thanks, Steph. My report has one action item. It's on begins on page 14. It's the LCDBG fiscal year 2021 project. The status is presented on page 15. We haven't had a request for a partial payment in a while from NCMC. It was July, when the contract was 97% complete by time, 78% complete by cost. And subsequently, the council awarded some additional contract time. And now, under partial payment number 14, as of October 25th, the contract was nearly complete by time, 90%, 79% complete by cost. And I want to explain that what that means is we have less repairs to do than the estimate. The contractor has all these repairs to do, and it's way behind, which is a good thing, because we're going to get it done under the grant amount. Give the money back, but we've smoke tested areas that we felt were most likely to have damage, and we produced a few more repairs. That's what's going on now. It's the second round of smoke testing repairs. The contract should be wrapped up in the next few months. The split 98% versus 79% is not really an indication of incompletion. Partial payment number 14 shows that the total value of work done through October 25th is at $1,441,803.55. The amount of $72,009.18 being withheld for labor and material liens, and the total amount due for this estimate, $8,506.80. And that was the smoke testing they did. We haven't gotten to the repairs yet. So that's that you consider.
It was offered by, that was quick, huh? By Ms. Andy, second by Chuck. And we approve partial payment estimate number 14 to the NCMC LLC for the rehabilitation of of the sewage collecting system project in the amount of $8,506.80. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, have the same right? Motion carried.
And that's my only action item, and the same thing stands. If you have any questions between now and next Wednesday, give me a call.
Okay, anything else to come before utilities? Brother Dale, what you got?
Chris, please, update on, I know this time of year we reevaluate the sewer user fees. Has that been done yet, or when is that gonna be done?
We started the process, waiting on Louisiana Rural Water, what they're calling LRWA, for that to come back, that study to come back from them. So that's where we're at on that, waiting for the LRWA study to come back. Tim may have a better.
Yeah, Tim Crater and I discussed that just about an hour ago. We gave them the information that LRWA needs. It's the audit of the year 21-22, which is a long time ago. We gave them that information in the middle of the summer, and they informed us that they were backlogged because the Louisiana Community Development Block Grant Program now requires all cities to have their user fees evaluated by LRWA. So they've got more to do than they can see. So we're far behind as far as the ordinance goes, but there's, I think, a good reason. We're waiting to be studied by an independent agency. Meanwhile, the data is getting older and older. If we're basing today's or next year's user fees on expenses and revenues 2 years ago, that doesn't ring well. So Tim and I talked about getting in touch with Rusty Reeves, who's the head of the LRWA, and see if we can't push them in a direction that would, and to get them to come here. We used to do it in a day with them. One day with them, we would produce what they do with them in that meeting, what they needed, and they've got a laptop and plug it in and take what you need in revenue. What we'd like to consider doing is have them come in, and Tim points out today that your revenue in 2023 is unaudited. But the 22-23 revenue year ended August 30th, 23 is about exactly the same as it was in the audited figures the fiscal year before. Meanwhile, he's been able to scrimp and save, and he's probably a couple $100,000 under that with expenditures. So he's doing well. And that doesn't take into consideration that nasty word, equipment replacement depreciation, okay? So
That's the equipment too.
well, that's what has to be looked into. I asked him, where did you save $200,000? He said, well, we've done some things with some of our pumps that make it last longer. And they haven't filled some positions. That's not good because you need service. So that savings is a little bit skewed. Yeah, you're not saving because you're not receiving. So, what we'd like to do maybe is get LRWA to consider coming in and just sitting down with us. Let's look at our 2022-23 figures, even though they're unaudited. I don't want them to look at the previous fiscal year. We can talk about real things that need to be replaced, programs that are coming up that we need to be sure we have the funding for. If we can borrow money against your sewer revenue if we need to, and see if we can't come up with something now, because I really believe we're way behind on their priority list. So that's my report.
Let me ask you a question. Is your question just to make sure that we're in compliance? Is that?
No, it's every year you reevaluate.
Yeah, I know.
And adjust the sewer user fee.
Right.
We had been, it was the ordinance.
Yeah, because I know a while back we were out of compliance and whatever. Anyway, thank you. But that does answer your question?
Yeah,
Thank you.
we definitely haven't forgotten about it, we just wait on the process.
Anything else?
Forget it.
I do have a question. If the review process has changed, do we need to amend the ordinance, if the ordinance conflicts?
I don't believe that.
I'd say not.
No.
I don't think you want to. If you're gonna look at amending the ordinance, I would look into amending the ordinance to have a cost of living, a CPI change in the rate. Many communities are doing that. If we had done that, we could have done that already. And we could have said, look, we're gonna go by the CPI, do our study later, but you have that money coming in to fund the things that you need. That's something that's seriously needed to be considered by the council.
Anything else? No one? All right, we'll go ahead, let's see. That's it, we're gonna recess.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Recreation, Alderman Ashby.
Recreation Committee, come to order, we have a quorum. Mr. Peter Kirsch did not send me a report, his grandfather died today, so y'all please keep him in y'all's prayers. So we'll go ahead and let Mr. Tim Maynard.
I have nothing further. I think all that Peter would have had was a partial payment estimate for the restrooms, but I don't have anything.
All right, so, he does have in consideration a partial payment number 6 for the new restrooms and concession and restroom renovations at the Tony Robichaud Sports Complex. Let's see what the partial payment amount is. $108, yeah, $108,364.31 is a partial payment. Chad, you want to give them a little update? I mean, I'm up to date on it, but I think you've chewed a little bit more than I have.
Yeah, that restroom, project, the contract, the completion date was, end of September, supposed to be September 28th. We had a meeting yesterday, with Mr. Keith Bro and, the architect, Huffpower, and, I'm not really excited about the excuses, but they were supposed to start today on the flooring, prepping it and getting it ready to put the flooring finishes on the flooring at the Hinskins Park restroom today. Hopefully, if everything goes as planned, by Monday, no later than Tuesday, they should be able to start installing fixtures. And by the end of next week, that facility should be ready to go. Keep in mind that completion date of September 28th included the renovations to the existing restroom for officials, changing room and all at Hinskins. And so not only, and renovations to the Bronco, or whatever it's called now, concession stand, restrooms, to renovate those and air condition those. None of that stuff has been started yet because we need to get the new build completed to be able to use it before they tear apart and renovate the existing stuff. There is, just as any other contract, a clause for being late. And that's something that, we can look at and see. There was an excuse that they were waiting on water, there was an excuse that they were waiting on Clico. The cabinet, the countertops are back ordered, or now they're, it wasn't available, so Peter had to pick different. these things were all brought up to us, the countertops and the floors and the colors and all of that good stuff, just last month, early October. And the job started in April, so it seems like that should have been picked out sooner in the process. I'm not laying off of them. It's pretty disappointing that we're this far behind schedule. I would say that we can't blame it on weather because it was very dry. But then he brought up the fact that they had to get an ambulance to go out there for one of the employees because it was too hot. So this is either raining too much or it's too hot. So, which it was very hot. That's not a laughing matter, but and I can understand that. But it seems like we shouldn't have had any weather delays. It's tough to swallow the idea that we are currently a month behind and they haven't even started, they haven't completed the new construction, much less started renovations yet. So we're dealing with that. We're trying to push it along. There is some tournaments coming up next weekend. Not this weekend coming up, but the following. So we're hopeful that we have at least Henson's completed by then. And Mr. Keith said that Henson's would be finished in 2 weeks, so this week, and it'll be finished by next week. So we'll see.
We did have a tournament set up there for last weekend, and thank goodness it got canceled because
Yes.
they wouldn't have had restrooms. So they're at least still 2 months before finishing that project.
Absolutely.
So consideration partial payment number 6 for the new restrooms and concession and restroom renovations at the Tony Robichaud Sports Complex for $108,364.31. So Jeff and Katie moved in second. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Anything else to come before the Recreation Committee? We'll recess.
Thank you, sir. Zoning and annexation, Alderman Reggie, just FYI, Chris, everything is ready to go for next week's public hearing for that zoning and annexation.
Yeah, one other,
What's that?
there was another, besides, there was one other item on the,
In that committee?
from yesterday's planning commission.
Oh, yeah.
That's not part of the items.
Yeah, that's not on here either.
I haven't received anything either, so.
Mr. Reggie?
Yeah, zoning and annexation committee convenes, all members are present. We'll start with Mr. Tim Maker.
Yeah, thank you, Sammy. I have nothing in terms of action. We're working behind the scenes with Tom Reagan for the mapping and description for the annexation. Tom's getting that up.
All right, great. Under action items, I have none. Under discussion items, I have none. Anything to come before zoning and annexation? I will recess.
Thank you, sir. And Chris, we'll check on that process and obviously bring it up at full council if we have the information available. We'll put it on that agenda. Yes, sir.
It was his rezone.
Yes, sir. It is your rezoning. That's correct. And we'll once we get all that information together, we can put it on the agenda next week to have that done. Okay. Public buildings, Mr. Wilrich, and we have to amend your agenda for a second.
Before I get started, public business convene, I need to amend my public building committee. There's a resolution in our package for the Enterprise Center to start contractor work on the Enterprise Center.
That's a move.
So,
It was offered by Ms. Big Lady, second by Brad Collier. Nays, you got the same right?
So everyone, Mr. Byron, your vote is to amend the agenda. Jeff? Y'all need to have
Roll call.
Jeff, you wanna, yes or no to amend the agenda to add the, resolution?
Yes.
It has to be everybody. Sammy?
Yes.
Brad?
Yes.
And Nikki?
Yes.
Thank you all.
You gonna talk about it now?
Yeah, you can bring it up. So, this is a resolution resolution of the Board of Aldermen of the City of Crowley, State of Louisiana, declaring that certain buildings and structures known as the Enterprise Center, situated on lots 1, 2, 3, and 4 of Block 7 of the original City of Crowley as a surplus building and no longer needed for public use, authorizing a contract with a licensed contractor for the demolition of said building, authorizing the mayor of the City of Crowley to issue requests for proposals to qualified bidders for the demolition and removal of the structure, including all salvage rights to rough timber, milled lumber, and other building materials, and requiring the cleanup and removal of all debris from the site comprising of the Enterprise Center building, authorizing the mayor of the City of Crowley to execute any and all documents as may be necessary and proper in connection therewith, and to provide all matter relative thereto and in connection therewith. Basically, it's saying the Enterprise Center building is surplus, and that we can demolish it to make way for the new construction.
So moved.
I'll second. It was offered by Brad, second by Sammy. Any other come before,
I got a question.
In discussion.
any discussion, Chuck had a question?
It talks about the payment to have the demolition done. Have we talked to, the couple of people that were interested in purchasing the building for the timber and stuff?
So, I'll tell you that, one of the people that, I was recommended to call, the Garbers, I actually toured the building with them. They were actually the first ones that I toured the building with, showed them everything. They looked, they brought flashlights and looked at everything. They never called me back. But, and going through it, I'm going through it with multiple people, multiple contractors. The first few, I began to get kind of scared because it seemed as though it was gonna be a few $100,000 to tear that building down. It's a very large building. One of the contractors estimated about 55 to 60,000 square feet. It is 100% wood. There's a lot of it in there. After talking to many contractors, I think the problem is my assumption, Tom Reagan had the same opinion as probably many of you had, is that it's an old building, it's large timber, and it's old timber, and it's going to be worth something to someone. It doesn't seem to be of any interest as far as for salvage of the lumber to anyone. While some of it is going to be salvaged by the contractors that have looked at it in the event that they get the job, I think the problem is that there's more that will need to be hauled off and disposed of than is salvageable. Coupled with the process of salvaging this wood and the time it would take to take apart the building piece by piece because of its size, 3 stories. Also, the Garbers made a point that the beams, while the posts are large beams, the beams that the posts are holding up are also the same size. However, they only go from post to post. They're not long 20, 40-foot stretches of large beams. They're shorter beams. It doesn't seem to be any late 1800, early 1900 lumber in that building. The building does not contribute to the historic district. It is not considered a historic building. It is actually an intrusion in the historic district. And it's, you know, the building has been changed 20 years ago, I guess it was, whenever it was purchased by the city and renovated into the Enterprise Center. It was just the first floor that was renovated. The top two floors, there was nothing done to them. The building is now empty, with the exception of some storage of records and files for city court, city police, and city hall. Currently, I'm looking at an option for that, and I'll be coming back to you guys and ladies with that option here shortly. But the cost of operating that building, that building we pay the highest insurance on because of its size and its fire load. It's a very costly building for the city to hold on to. And I truly believe that we are going to be upgrading by getting rid of that building and putting a pavilion there for our citizens and hopefully citizens from around the state and maybe even the country to come and visit our city for events and things of that sort. But it's unfortunate that, because that's what I was hoping for, was somebody to, honestly, I was hoping for somebody to write us a check because of the lumber and stuff that they may have been able to get out of there. It's actually the opposite. I'll tell you that the city last year received $100,000 of the original $1.74 million. That $100,000 was for planning and construction of the pavilion. That $100,000 has not been spent. Nothing has been spent on that pavilion. So my plans are to use that $100,000 towards the demolition of this building. And then the $1.64 million that's still available is now available. It was last year P4. Representative Stefanski was able to get it direct, which is basically cash money, although there is still a 25% match, and that's been taken care of also. So, you know, we'll be able to move forward with the construction of the pavilion with the 1.64 million, and use the 100,000 that was received last year out of that original 1.74 for demolition. We have room for that. Any other questions?
That's it, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mayor, I just wanted to, is it now the utilities are cut, water and electrical?
The utilities are not cut yet. We won't be able to build a records retention building before I'd like to see that project started for demolition. So I'm currently looking for a location to put those files in the meantime. And this isn't, it's not on the agenda to talk about that building yet, but the city of Rain recently built a records retention building, specifically for what we need it for. They built a 50 by 100, and I'm looking at a 60 by 100 for the city of Crowley. That will give Crowley Police Department the much needed space that they need for storage, the city court for the needed space that they need for storage, city hall, and a smaller spot, but a space for the fire department because they don't need as much. The police department will also have room for a controlled space in there that will be for evidence and things of that sort. The plans would be to build this building on the parking lot of the police department. The city wouldn't have to purchase any property. And preliminary, what I'm looking at right now is about $150,000 for a climate-controlled 60 by 100 metal building. Basically mirroring the one, I went toward the one in Rain. If any of you would like to do that, please let me know. I'll be happy to set that tour up. It is really, it's something that we need, been needing for many years, but it is really an outstanding building. And I've got the agreement that the city of Rain will also assist us in the same way that they built theirs. So going forward, we'll put that on the agenda soon to be able to discuss that. But that's the only thing that's left in that building. So I don't want to get rid of the climate control. Everything is off, but I still have climate control basically at minimum in the rooms that have the records. The police department has some stuff over there also. So until we get that out, but the rest of it is all, we've canceled telephones and internet and all of that stuff is canceled in there. So it's just, water is not being used, it's gonna be a minimum. We could probably turn the water off. Just the electricity, minimum electricity. So. Any other questions?
Any more discussion coming from other buildings? There being none, so it will be said.
You need to vote on that resolution. Because we were in discussion.
You're ready for a vote?
All in favor?
All in favor? Aye. Nay, you have the same right, motion carried.
Thank you, sir.
There being no other discussion coming before public business, we recess.
Thank you, sir. Insurance and personnel, Alderwoman Marks.
The Public Buildings and Committee will now convene. We do have,
Going back.
sorry. Rose memories. Okay, the Insurance and Personnel Committee will now convene. We do have a quorum. We do not have any reports at this time. There are no action items or discussions. And this committee, unless there's any questions or discussion anyone wants to have, the Committee of Insurance and Personnel will recess.
Thank you, ma'am. Alderwoman Chasson, Community and Economic Development.
Thank you very much. The Community and Economic Development Committee will come to order, and we do have a quorum present. Just a few things to mention. Tourism Director Valerie Myers indicated that she is working in partnership with the Acadia Parish Chamber for Small Business Saturday, which will be held on Saturday, November 25th. I have copies for y'all over there. You don't have to write all this down. The annual Crowley Main Street, the annual Taste of Crowley, will be held on Thursday, November 9th from 6 to 9 p.m. at the Grand Opera House. Tickets are $40 in advance and $50 at the door. They can be purchased at Vanilla Bean Home Bank or online at the Crowley Main Street website. Christmas in Crowley will be held on Saturday, December 9th. You'll be hearing more about that. Acadia Parish Chamber of Commerce, I was going to mention that Chief Romero and the fire department won first place in the gumbo cook-off, to congratulate them for that. November 16th, they have the Economic Outlook with Dr. Gary Wagner. Watch the website for the location and more information. They have also rescheduled the Prosper Acadia, which is a small business workshop, and that's November 30th. It's in partnership with Louisiana Economic Development Small Business Division, the Lead Center of UL Lafayette, and the Small Business Development Center in Lafayette. So there'll be more information on that on their website. Holiday Business After Hours, Thursday, December 14th, 5 o'clock, Grand Opera House of the South. And looking forward into the next year, the Farmers Appreciation Dinner is Thursday, January 18th, 6 p.m. Rice Festival Building. The Crowley Garden Club, Ms. Christie mentioned that the Crowley Community Choir and area churches will present their annual performance ushering in the Advent Christmas season on Sunday, November 26th. That's at 3 p.m. at the Opera House. Admission is free, and they will be collecting donations for local charities. Ms. Zora had nothing to report on West Crowley beautification. The Historic District Committee is currently working with St. Teresa's Church on renovations. John Ann Gotti will again present a Christmas concert at St. Teresa's. That's on Sunday, December 3rd at 3 p.m., and contributions will be accepted for renovations. So those are the things that are going on. Is there anything else that needs to be discussed? We have no action items, and with that, the Community and Economic Development Committee will recess.
Thank you, ma'am. Revenue and Finance, Alderman Lochley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Revenue and Finance Committee convenes. We have a quorum of members present. We had no reports to present. We had no action items. Is there any discussion come before the committee? Okay, with no discussion, we give the committee rest.
Thank you, sir. And we're done.
No, I'm sorry, because back with you, man, I'm at a meeting, but you got it.